What's going on, hustlers? Welcome back into Hustlepedia. Today we are going to be diving into another play to earn economy that if you have been watching my show over on the Crypto Banter channel Monday through Friday, 1:30 Eastern, you would know that we have been participating in the Crabada economy quite heavily, and it's recently gotten to a point where I'm really trying to scale up the operation because the earning potential here is definitely higher than any other blockchain game in the space right now. The current yield potential in Crabada is definitely out of the ballpark. I mean, like it's not even close at this point in time with other games. So I will go ahead and dive into this economy top to bottom, what the game is. As you see here, a fully decentralized play and earn idle game with an upcoming battle game, also a subnet on Avalanche, which will use their utility token as gas. So we have a ton to get into in this video. So without further ado, let's get into it. If you're new to the channel, be sure to drop down and hit the subscribe button. We come out with brand new crypto gaming videos here every single week. I hadn't posted in a while because I had to do the weekly 5 days a week show on Crypto Banter, but I will be posting earnings guide and deeper, more niched down topics here. So, you know, my Crypto Banter show, we cover the entirety of the space. I cover literally top to bottom everything in the sector, and then we do go in depth on like Crabada, Axie, etc., like we do here on this channel. But now I will be niching back down on this channel for more isolated, easy to find content on individual games that you'll be able to use for strategy, be able to take notes, and get involved in some of these economies yourself. And as always, I'm not a financial advisor. Do your own research as always. I'm just letting you know the moves that I am making, and Crabada is definitely making a lot of moves recently. So along with Avalanche's $290 million fund, their multi-first incentive for subnets for gaming, DeFi, and NFT institutional use cases, we see the Swimmer network emerge. So Crabada is actually going to be integrating their own Swimmer network, right? So their blockchain is going to be powered by Avalanche, but it's also going to be using the in-game utility token as a burn mechanism. So this is recent news that is very, very bullish for Crabada. And Crabada, I will actually play a game of the prototype demo. So I'm not going to play the video of the battle game, but right now it is a mining, looting, breed, and battle game upcoming. So basically you send your crabs on a mining mission, which we'll talk about the game and how to kind of navigate it at the back end of this video. There will be timestamps here, so if you want to find your strategy, you can skip around, etc. It should be very easy to navigate. But you send your crabs on a mining mission, but there are players who come and loot your mines. And then if you reinforce, you're actually able to fight back and then win the mining raid, getting you more rewards. Even if you lose the mining raid, you still win some rewards. You're able to breed your crabs and produce, obviously, an offspring crab, which you can then put into battle, sell, whatever you want to do with the offspring crab. But, you know, when people want to scale up the teams, that's when the earnings really get lucrative in this economy, right? So we see here that the battle game prototype is also available, which we will get into at the back half of this video. So as we see, they're integrating their own subnet, guys, on Avalanche, which is going to provide a lot more utility and a lot more support, really, to the TUS, the Treasure Under the Sea token. And the Treasure Under the Sea token, guys, is the earnings token, the primary earnings token right now in the Crabada economy, because each mine yields you a little bit of CRA tokens, the Crabada token, the CRA token here, but majority of the mining raids pay out in the TUS token, the in-game currency. And as you see here, the CRA token is the governance token, which is rewarded via staking and play in the game. So right now, there's not too much utility for CRA, but I'll talk about what I really like about the CRA and the Amulet system as well in this video, because when you stake CRA is the only way to actually scale up your teams to the max potential. So we'll talk about that here at the end of the video as well. And TUS is the earnings token, as I said. So that will be basically handed out for each of the mining raids every single 4 hours. So every 4 hours, the mining raids run. So technically, you could do 6 mines per day on the mining raids. But the thing about it is we all sleep. And so if you're going to be a normal person, maybe 4 mining raids per day. And the earnings are still very, very lucrative for 4 mining raids per day. And we'll talk about the floor price because the floor price fluctuates right with the TUS token as well, guys. So we've seen the TUS token completely fluctuate up and down. And this is the earnings token. So it got up after IDO to like 34 cents. and then it did its little fluctuation here. It bottomed, and then it swung all the way up. I honestly bought around like right here, around the 26th to 27th. That's when my like first transaction in the economy was, like right around here. Because I was in on Peg Axie first, right? And I started really, Peg Axie got hot, and I wanted to move my money into another economy that I just really loved. And I didn't have a problem paying up. I got into the economy. TUS was, 27 cents. I got up to 37 cents, and it has swung down quite a bit, but we have seen it bottom at about 7 cents, and it's upswinging a little bit. And the floor prices correlate with that. If you take a look at the floor prices about 2 months ago, about 1.5 months ago, were about $4,000 per crab, right? So the floor prices have fluctuated with the TUS token. The TUS token's taken about a 60% decline. We'll still have the floor prices of the crabs. So this is a good indicator of where the economy is as far as floor prices of crabs, as well as the earning state of the game, right? So you can go in there, and this is the typical rewards that you would receive, right? So for a loss, for certain teams, you would receive 136 TUS and about 1.5 CRA tokens. And for a win, I'm getting about 4 CRA tokens and 334 TUS tokens. So at 10 cents per token right now for the TUS token, right? That is $30 for the mine. So right here, just this little 4-hour period, for example, guys, this little 4-hour period made me about 13, 30, 10. This one made me 106 and 1 CRA token. I'm not even going to count up the CRA. So that one made me about $13, $33, and $10, right? So just that little 4-hour period made me about $50-$60, especially if you include the CRA tokens. So you can see how lucrative this can be. So right now, to get into the game, there's a lot of different levels. If you want to scale up to a full team of 3 at a floor level, it would be about $4,500. But I'll tell you about the optimum strategy here in just a second. And I don't feel like you're late at all to this game, because the battle game is around the corner and an influx of players will be coming into this economy. As you see here, there's only 7.5K on-chain users over the last 30 days. I only say only because Axie Infinity has 18K over just the last day. And over the last 30 days, they have 117,000 active users, right? But if you key in on this orange line, the users line right here, as we see, this is the all chart. Recently, they have taken yet another tumble in on-chain activity, right? On user activity on-chain. So you're seeing a major downswing here for the Axie Infinity economy, when Crabada's economy is only growing, literally time after time. It is just going up, up, and up. And I think the battle game will bring a lot more interest in as well, because there will be a more active side, and it's also going to reward more. So they have said that the battle game will provide more rewards. So that's going to be very lucrative for the players who take the time to battle. This will also bring scholars into the economy, right? So scholars might come in here, just like the Axie Infinity battle game, just like Peg Axie's scholarship system, just like Cyball's rental system. There might just be a smart contract system integrated right into the game to bring in more player base that's going to be participating in the battle game for the whales who don't want to necessarily play the battle game, right? I'm optimized for mining right now, but I will tell you my strategy right now, and then my strategy to build towards a team for the battle game, because we'll play a round of the battle game. And I think it's going to be a good eye-opener as to a couple crabs that I think are really powerful, because I tested a bunch of them, and I'll kind of show you which ones I like. And Crabada's second in activity and users right now on the Avalanche chain. The user base doesn't lie, right? After Trader Joe, it's literally the second most used D app in the entire ecosystem. So I'm super bullish on that. And to go along with the swimmer network, Axie Infinity, it's detailed here in this. I talked about this on the Banter show the other day. The ACAP thread where he said there's a storm brewing for Crabada as there's a supply crisis for crabs. There's like 600,000 Axies, guys. There's like 600,000 Axies out there. And there's only 45,000 adult crabs, I believe, was the number. I looked at it today. I would need to double check that, and I can actually double check that really quick. But I believe there's only 45,000 adult crabs, if I'm not. Yeah, there's currently less than 50,000 crabs in existence, or 16,000 full teams. So if you think about it, there's not enough crabs right now to go around if a brand new influx of players just come in, because there needs to be 3 crabs for a team. So there's going to be a big time demand, many flocking to the marketplace. And obviously you need the TUS and the CRA to breed. And the gas token on the ecosystem is now going to be the utility token. They're making all these changes within the next month, guys. So this game right now, if you're getting in, I think you're setting yourself up very, very well for the future. And I'm still happy with where I got in. Even my first team I bought at the top, right? And now I've recently really scaled it up now that they dipped, because they're a lot cheaper to get in retrospect, right? So I scaled up more. I now have staked CRA to get the Amulet tokens to add more teams. So now I'm just going to scale up my TUS earnings, scale up my crabs, keep acquiring. And we'll talk about the ROI potential here right now, and we'll go ahead and get into it. So Miko Crypto NFT, he does weekly ROI guides, and I just think it's super detailed, and it's better than anything that I would put together, because I don't want to just tell you my strategy. Like, I do a little bit different than what this lays out, right? My strategy isn't the same as this strategy per se. Now, I do one of these, but I don't do all of them, right? So let's go ahead and do it. So the mining game right here, you go ahead and click into, let's just go to the win, right? So this is my team. It's a Lux faction. So each different crabs go under a certain faction. Each certain faction, it's in the white paper, has an advantage over certain different factions, right? So the Lux faction actually has an advantage over the Ore faction. And so what I have is a prime crab and a prime crab, and a right here is a bulk crab. And they're all 6 out of 6 purity. So 6 out of 6 purity crabs are the best crabs in the ecosystem, and their win percentages are much higher than the non-pure crabs. I can tell you that because I remember I initially also bought a couple of floors just to kind of get in, because I didn't want to completely pay up to get in, but I quickly realized that it would be just worthwhile to pick up all full purities. So I did that afterwards, after the prices dipped, which I'm really thankful for, right? Once the prices dipped, I just stacked up on a bunch of fuel pures, and now we're just going to compound it until it's very lucrative. And then the breeding farm gets going, and I just keep acquiring crabs for both the idle game and the battle game. So as you see here, and this one's actually not a good example. So here's what happens, right? The game starts, and then they attack, and you have the option to reinforce. So you can choose to fight back, right? And you click hire at the bottom right here. It would say hire right where my mouse is. And you would hire basically a new attacker on your team from the tavern. And it costs like 13 TUS. So it costs like $1.30. And you hire someone to, these are my 2 that I hired for this mine, right? I still lost this one because they have better mining points and battle points than me. So this team also has a factional advantage over me, right? The Lux has a factional advantage over the Ore. So really, I shouldn't be fighting back in that situation, but I like to just fight back because it's not really that big of a cost based on the returns. So I'm not too worried about that. But at the end of the day, this is kind of the process, right? They attack, you reinforce, they can attack again, and then you reinforce again, right? And then they give you a Miner's Revenge. Miner's Revenge is kind of like a little bit of a bonus on your rewards, so to speak. And as you see here, they attack for a 3rd time, and then it ends. So, and then it kind of lays out your Miner's Revenge, your win, your lose, or the time left. It shows the team and your rewards made, and it shows the faction for the team that you are using, right? So it shows the faction of the team. That's the mining game kind of in a nutshell. It's really easy right now. It's very passive, right? You just have to do a couple MetaMask clicks. You can even just click in, and if you want to lose every raid, we'll talk about it. It's very profitable. So if you have a team of full bulks, right? 3 bulks, 6 out of 6 purity, so full purity bulks. So let's do this real time. Where's the marketplace? We'll bring it right after these tweets. I believe this is where they start. So we'll start at the 6 out of 6 purity bulks. So we go to the marketplace. You would go 6 out of 6 purity. You would go to bulks. So if you wanted to do this type of team, it would cost you about $5,200 if you want to go with a full team, right? If you want to get a 3 bulk full team right now, 6 out of 6 purity, it would cost about a little over $5,000. But as we see here with Miner's Revenge, so when you're reinforcing and when you're fighting back, So you do get some wins here and there, and the wins pay about double to triple what the losses do, right? So as you see here, a team of full bulks would get you your money back in about 2 months. A team of full primes is actually the way to play it right now. And as we see here, if you want to go with a team of full primes, a full prime team would run you right about $5,500 to $6,000, right? Now, it sounds like a lot, but when you're making the rewards that this economy pays every single day, it's really, really lucrative APY. We'll actually show a tweet at the end that calculates the actual annual rate of return that a team of crabs returns. And I think it'd be surprising what you see. And then you see a bulk, and a prime. So now you can do the math. The primes and the bulks dominate right now in the mining game. Those are the best two crabs. I just showed you the floors for the 6 out of 6s for both, right? So a bulk, and a prime 6 out of 6 will have its ROI back based on the TUS price today in about 57 to 54 days. And these are making about $65, $81, and $51 per day, respectively, right? And that's the way I would suggest to play it. That's the way I would suggest to play it, right? If you're going to get in, I would go for the full purities. They are worthwhile because your win percentage will be much, much higher, and your long-term returns and your ROI speed will be much better. But what if you don't, right? What if you just want to get floor crabs and maybe just not even reinforce? You just want to send them to battle, you want to lose, and you maybe just want to get that 100 or 130 or so TUS tokens every 4 hours, which is still pretty lucrative, right? You can still make about $40 to $60 per day by losing every single mine. You don't have to win a single mine, and you're making $40 to $60 per day here. So as you see here, these floor prices were about a week ago. They've gone up a bit. That's why I went and showed you the real-time adjustment there. But a team of 3 bulks, 6 out of 6, they're paying off in about 2.5 months when you're not even fighting back. A team of 3 primes are paying off in about 2 months, right? So very, very quick turnaround and very, very good percentage on return there, if you ask me. And the best bet is a combination of cheap crabs and non-pure prime for the 10% bonus. ROI has improved for losing every time. And it is good to see that the TUS token, back here, it was kind of low, right? So the earnings potential now, actually, if you bought crabs down here, it's kind of quicker than when this tweet was posted, right? Because this was posted on the 6th of March. So the returns here, guys, are super, super lucrative. Now, let's say you don't want to put $5,000 in up front. Well, you can buy one crab. So you can buy a 6 out of 6, or you can just buy a floor and rent it out on the tavern. So what you can do, every 2 hours, people need reinforcements, right? People are out there fighting battles, reinforcing for their mines. So on the other behalf, when people are mining, there's also people renting out in the tavern for the miners to be able to reinforce with to come help their mines, right? So as you see here, you could still pay off your investment with mines in about 3 to 4 months, just across the board here. And you're not making near as much, right? This is definitely the lowest ROI of the ways to get in if you're using crabs themselves. But about net profits, you're making anywhere from about $11 to $17 per day. And if you're going the tavern route, don't short yourself and get a floor crab. Still go for the 6 out of 6s, because when you have 3 crabs, you're going to want to play the mining game because it's much, much higher returns, right? If you're going to go with a team of 6 out of 6 surges and $11 per day and you're getting your money back in 4 months, well, you could compound that and eventually get a full team of primes and make $81 per day versus the tavern, where you're only making about $11 per day. So even if you have a full team, the tavern makes significantly less. You're only making about $33 per day, or like with a prime, you'd make about $42 per day. I was looking at a different class, but in general, the mining game is where the rewards are in this economy. We just took a look at the floor price. I showed you kind of the process here where they attack, reinforce, attack, reinforce, attack, and then the mining raid ends. They go in 4-hour cycles. Now, the one thing I want to point out that I really do like about this economy is it builds in a supply shock for the CRA token right now. So the CRA token could have a little more utility, as most utility tokens do. Axie Infinity's token, they don't do anything. AXS, PGX for Peg Axie, most governance tokens right now in play to earn gaming there's no real governance. I know Axie's working on it with the Themis protocol, for example, with community governance, but not a lot of governance tokens actually are governance at the moment. They don't have much utility. But CRA's token right now, they're building in more utility. But in the meantime, you can only have, I'll show you this real quick, you can only have 3 teams to start, right? So 3 out of 3 teams. So I've maximized my teams, or you would think. So you would hover up here, you would click staking, you go to the staking. So this is where you would stake CRA. So there's a massive supply shock of the Crabada token, as you see here. At every week, every 50 CRA token stake earns you 1 of the Amulets token. So this is the CRA token, the Crabada governance token, about 86 cents, $70 million market cap, and about an $800 million fully diluted market cap. Pretty healthy. And with the battle game coming, it definitely could still have a lot of potential to the upside. But with this market, I'm more focused on the yield bearing games, right? I'm way more focused on scaling up these in-game economies like Crabada, Axie, etc., because those are working in the background, and those are just completely, right now idle and passive for the most part. So scaling those up in a market like this, you're hedging the bear market like no other. And I'll show you those percentage returns in just a second. And then the Crabada Amulets token, this is what you earn whenever you're staking the CRA token, right? So when you're staking the CRA token, you're earning the Amulets. Well, what do the Amulets do, right? So every 50, you earn 1 Amulet per week. As you see here, I'm earning like 124 Amulets per week. It's weekly claimable, so my next claim's on the 17th there. But I'll show you, so the cross staking, right now, 43% of the circulating supply is being staked. That's super bullish in my opinion, when that much of the circulating supply is actually being staked on a time lock contract. When you unlock, it takes 3 weeks to get it off. So you're not only just staking, so you can't just put it in and then immediately scale up and then take your money out. It's on a time locked contract, right? So you're getting rewarded with the Crabada Amulets token, and the Crabada Amulets token have exclusive perks like expanding your team size and also participating in weekly lucky draws and more to come. So you actually have to purchase additional team slots, right? So right now it says I only have 3 team slots, but in reality, you can add a new team right here by clicking new team. You just have to actually spend the Crabada Amulets token that you earn via the time-locked staking contract. So very, very good system in my opinion to prevent what this does, right? It prevents whales to be able to come in and immediately buy 50, 100 teams. And then if they can buy in that quick, you know how quick they can dump, right? And the claims are only weekly. There's a time lock staking contract. This is a pretty healthy way to at least make that liquidity have to scale out slower if a big whale comes in to dominate the economy, so to speak, and has just so many teams of crabs that they could control a complete floor dump if they wanted to, right? So I think this is a good way to kind of build in a progression system that if a whale really wants to go all out in this economy, they have to put a lot in a time lock staking contract in order to update their teams and scale up their teams. So I do think that's a pretty good system, and it's unique, right? There's no limit to how many horses you can have in Axie. There's no limit to how many Axies you can have, for example. But they actually make it to where you have to kind of put your faith in the CRA governance token and stake it up for the Amulets token if you really want to scale up this economy. And as you see here, you can add teams, the lucky draw, there will be special mining zones, and the Amulets will be tradable very soon. So where you could buy Amulets. But I actually like it to where you can't buy it. I think it builds in more Crabada utility for the CRA token. So hopefully they actually don't, like you can sell Amulets right now. I don't want them to make it to where you can buy Amulets. I actually think it's a pretty healthy way to prevent complete whale capital from getting in one day and just completely dominating the economy and then having that ability to completely dump the floor on the way out. And as you see here, I would completely suggest, even if you're in the tavern with 1 crab, even if you're with one team, if you have 10 teams of crabs, if you're a Crabada veteran, whether you've scaled completely up or whether you just have 1 team, I would highly suggest using the CrabadaTracker.app website here. So Crabada Tracker, it literally gives you net profits, net TUS, net CRA, mining reward wins, mining losses, win percentages, tavern earnings. So you can literally get all the analytics and more population stats for the crabs, everything you need on the Crabada Tracker app. And then let's take a look at different levels to get into this game. So maybe you don't even have, maybe you just don't want to go into a play to earn game at this state of the market, at this state of time, or you just don't have the capital to even just get into the one crab, right? To be able to rent. So let's talk about the 4 different levels you can get into this economy right now. You can actually buy into the Crabada NFT. It's an Avalanche NFT that pays out rewards to their holders for just holding the NFT. And what they do is with the rewards and the royalties from the collection, they scale up and they buy Crabada teams and they pay out rewards to their holders. So it's a DAO. It's very easy to get involved with. You just buy it on the Avalanche blockchain and it pays out about 190% APR. Now, if you want to do one crab and rent it out, over the year, you're making 400% APR. Now, that would be through the tavern, as mentioned. As we see here, if you want to spend about $5K, that $5,000 to $6,000 range that I told you about, buy 3 crabs and mine or loot for 1,500% APR. I suggest mining. The looting is the people that come and attack your mines. In my opinion, mining is more lucrative, but I do know people who do the looting process. My strategy is mines, for example. And then 25K plus, this is a little far-fetched, but if you want to just go in balls to the wall, right, buy 3 to 4 crabs and breed farm for 2,000% APR. That would be, you would want to buy low breed counts and just farm, scale up, breed your Crabadas, and then you would have a natural scaling operation with your breeding operation. So definitely amazing returns in this economy. And this is basically where I'm at, right? I'm doing the mining game every single day with my 3 teams. I am scaling up. I just bought another crab. So I have 10 crabs at the moment. I have 3 teams. I'm renting one out in the tavern. I have 3 teams in the mining game currently, and they're all winning games or winning mines every day here and there, right? So it's definitely paying out very, very lucrative. And you can actually test out the battle game right now, guys. You can test out the battle game right now, but I'll show you my team layouts, right? I want to show you my team layouts just so you kind of see what I'm doing to get a couple of wins per day, right? So right here, I have a team. This is the one where I told you at the beginning of the video I mentioned, I kind of messed up and I bought a couple of floors at the beginning just because they were a little pricey at the time. They were about 4,500 was like the floor whenever I bought in, right? So I got a couple crabs at that price. Whenever they dipped, I really scaled up the operation. So my first team, these 2 are not full purity. Every other crab in my assets. So only 2 are not full purity out of my 10. So eventually these are going to be just probably rented in the tavern and I'm not going to mess with them because, or just like rented out in the battle game, for example. But my other ones, the pures, those are the ones I focus on. So let's focus on these 2 teams. So this team right here is a Lux faction. These are prime crabs. So I have 2 primes and a bulk crab. This one is the opposite. I have 2 bulks and a prime crab. These are all full purities. And in my opinion, from what most people do, and from people I talk to that are really big into Crabada and really have a pretty solid operation and a lot more crabs than me, I can tell you that. They kind of do the same thing. They do 2 and 1. They don't do the 3. Now, I am going to test one team with 3 primes because I did just pick up, like I said, my 10th crab, and it's this prime. I'm waiting to put him into action. So I am going to try out a team of 3 primes right here, and I will report kind of to see the win percentage on that one as well. But that's my strategy right now. So I'm going 2 primes in a bulk, 1 prime, 2 bulks, and I have a team of 3 bulks here. I'm renting out. This one's not rented because I'm going to put him in action whenever I claim the next mining rewards, which will be claimable here in 8 minutes and 11 minutes respectively. So that's my plan, guys. That is my plan, and I'm going to send one of these guys out to the tavern to have 1 guy in the tavern. I'll have 3 teams mining in action, and I can tell you the last 3 days, I made $200 off of 9 or 10 raids. 10 raids on the 11th. I made $132 off of like 7 or 8 raids yesterday. I was out most of the day. I did one in the morning, I did one mid-afternoon, and then one when I got home in the evening. So the profits are definitely there. So this is with 3 teams. So that's like, you just do the math there. That adds up very, very quickly, guys. If you're doing 10 mines per day with 3 teams, you're making $150 to $200 per day over a 30-day period. You're making $4,500 to $6,000 a month almost completely passively. If you can get over the fact that you have to click a couple MetaMask clicks here and there, this economy is the highest yielding, most lucrative, and so far the most stable economy there's been. We've seen Axie's economy kind of floor recently, right? We have seen economies like Axie Infinity really have their struggles. But Crabada's really prospering and kind of keeping their momentum. They're not losing any sort of steam on any part of their economy. The rewards are just still so fruitful. And a lot of other games, the rewards just fall out because of the utility token kind of just falling out over time, right? It kind of just falls out over time. In the next video, guys, I will actually talk about the Axie economy and kind of update that economy. But here's the battle game. So you can actually hop into the battle demo right now, and you can kind of test out different forms of crabs. So right here, I have a prime crab. Here is a craboid, which is a machine crab. This is a Lux faction. And then up here we have, I believe it is a ruined, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it's a ruined or a gem. I'm not too sure on this one. I think it's ruined. So I might actually lose this one here, but because sometimes they optimize against you, for example. But these crabs here, I've actually found to be some of the better crabs in the battle games. So this is a prime crab with this move here. That's a pretty strong attack. And then they hit with their pyramid on their attacks as well. So this is kind of what the battle game looks like in action. And it's going to be much more active, right? You're going to actually have to have players in here actively playing this economy and yielding these rewards. This is not going to be something they're going to be able to come in and just, you can't earn in the battle game unless you're playing. So either these owners are going to have to start playing the battle game, or there's going to be an influx of scholars coming into this game. And this active game is going to have much higher yielding rewards, which I'll be interested in. And as always, I'm always testing out the games, guys. As you see, oh man, we almost came back to, but it's all good. It was just a test just to show you what the battle game looks like. But like I said, they kind of optimize against you sometimes, so that is what it is. But that's what the battle game looks like, and the menu looks just like Axie Infinity. I do see that there will be an influx of scholars coming into this economy, because as we've talked about the entire video, the earnings and the ROI on this game are completely fruitful. I'm going to wrap it up here. We've been going for like 30 minutes, and I know it's a lot to take in. I'll try to put timestamps, make it as optimal as possible to find the information that you're looking for. Go back and retrace, listen to something again, because it is a lot to take in. There's a lot of different strategies you can deploy. Follow Miko Crypto NFT. As well as ACAP, the guys I showed both of their tweets in this video. They do really good extensive threads on the economy, kind of just going into ROI guides, as well as updates on the supply, where the crabs are at, because the bulk and the prime crabs are highly outpopulating the other breeds right now. And most people think that down the line, the other breeds that are underbred might swoop in and be the better crabs in the battle game. So I'll update on this economy as we go, guys, but I wanted to get a extensive earnings guide, economy guide, ROI guide, and overview of the Crabada, both the battle game and the idle game. So I'll be back with a Axie economy update here midweek on the channel. And as always, catch me on the Crypto Banter in the Game Show, 1:30 Eastern, every single weekday. 1:30 Eastern on Crypto Banter. Like and subscribe to this channel for weekly content as well. I'll be back next video, guys. Stay bullish. Keep hustling. Snib, snib. Peace.